Okay, and we're ready to go. What's up, Ecom Empires? How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are all amazing today, tonight, wherever you are in the world right now. I am here with Craig Roberts of Marcazo, and we have a really cool training slash presentation prepared for you today. So you guys probably have seen I've posted a couple times in the group now introducing this opportunity of print on demand in Brazil. Which to me, when I learned about this, when I saw this, it was really exciting because this is a very unsaturated opportunity, which for everybody in e-commerce, you know that that's where the money is. When you can find these unsaturated opportunities, it's just like a really hot market for people to be able to get in, get started quickly. I think this is something that's amazing for both newbies and for veterans. So I'm excited to present this to you. And I've been working with Craig. He's been really helpful, and it's really some cool stuff prepared for you. Craig has actually got a ton of experience in the print on demand world. He founded a company called Faberly back a few years ago. I forget how long ago, but it was a few years ago, back when print on demand was really starting to become a big thing. And he sold it to Teespring, which everybody I think knows Teespring. They're a massive company now. So he was able to build and sell a company to Teespring, and then started his journey helping Teespring actually set up in Europe as they were expanding their market. And then eventually that led him to Brazil. He can probably tell the story a little bit better, but basically, this guy's got a ton of experience in print on demand, knows how the markets work, knows how to build the companies, knows how sellers are able to really have success. And we were able to put together this completely free training to show you guys how exactly you can get started with print on demand, what this is all about in Brazil, how it works, because I think that one of the hangups right now, from when I posted it and I've been getting messages and I've been seeing some of the comments, I think one of the hangups that people have is just trying to get around the mental roadblock of selling in a different country in a different language. And so we're going to cover all of that for you today. And I'm going to let Craig just kind of explain some of the great information and even some of the case study stuff that he has prepared for you guys to see today. So let's get started with everything. Craig, are you there? You ready to go?
Yeah. Hey, Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah, everything sounds good. So, all right, man, I will let you kind of take off and introduce things, and we can get started and get rocking here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And, I just want to quickly say a big shout out to you and thank you for, telling other people about this opportunity and sharing it, right? I think it's very generous of you, right? When people find these gold mines, they don't necessarily share them, but I think kudos to you for doing that. So, yeah. But yeah, anyway, I mean, as the slide kind of says, print on demand is now in Brazil. I think, as you said, I've been in the print on demand business for a long time, since 2013. And things have changed a lot since then, right? I think most people focus their efforts on markets like North America or Europe. But there's a whole big world out there, So just by chance, I kind of got involved with a company that was doing this in Brazil in sort of 2017. Unfortunately, that company failed, but I saw the potential of these new markets. And, a lot of people who were selling in Brazil said, look, we want to keep selling there. There's a huge opportunity here. How can we do it? So my business partner and I, Fred, we kind of put our heads together and we thought of like, how can we make or open up this market for everybody who wants to make money there? And, long drawn out process, but eventually October last year, we launched Marcazo, and it's been fantastic. So, happy to say that print on demand is now in Brazil. So if you go to the next slide, I'll kind of quickly tell you, why Brazil is exciting, just to recap for those of you who don't know. It's a very large population. It's about 210 million people, which is roughly 2/3 of what the US is. And I think in Europe, if you combine Germany, France, and the UK together, you kind of get a similar size to Brazil. So it's a very, very large market, very often overlooked. But the people there are very active on social media. They're pretty much addicted to it. So it's like, it reminds me of the US back in like 2014, 2013, more or less. Likewise with the advertising costs, we're seeing people get CPAs for anywhere from like 60 cents to sort of like, $4 more or less, $3, $4 on average, right? Which if you compare to US or Europe in this print on demand business, you're kind of getting CPAs more along sort of $8, $9, I believe. So, it's substantially less in terms of cost of advertising. There is strong demand from what we've seen. We've delivered hundreds of thousands of products already. So, we're growing really quickly. There's no competition in terms of, you don't have you're not competing with thousands of other marketers in one geography. You've pretty much got it wide open. And there's just massive potential, right? When you put all that together, we put the slide together. You can see Facebook's biggest markets in the bottom right-hand corner. India and the US are the two biggest ones. But just behind that is Brazil, right? So it's the third biggest market for Facebook. And that just represents a massive opportunity. So we go to the next slide. How can you make 1 million reais? This is a presentation that I did in Brazil recently, but we had a whole lot of marketers in Brazil that we were talking to, and 1 million reais is about $250,000. In 12 months, and all you need to do is sell shirts for, what's that, 75, that's around $20. You make, what is that, $5, $6, $7 per shirt after ad cost. You do 40,000 of those a year, 3,300 a month, 793 a week. It's only 113 a day, right? Which is not, if you kind of break it down by that, it's not a huge mountain to climb. And this is just an example of, one campaign that did that in a very short space of time. This guy sold 790 products and made that amount of money, as you can see there. Just divide that by 4, you get the dollar amount, the US dollar amount. But there you go. It's more than possible to make these sums of money in a short space of time. You just need to find those winning designs and keep testing. And we'll talk about how we do that later. I know Nick's got something to share with you guys, so we'll go through all of this.
And just to jump in really quickly, what I just want to emphasize this for people, because what I love about print on demand in Brazil is your profit margin is actually there. One of the toughest things, I know, I hear this all the time, people ask me all the time, they post it in the group, when you're trying to sell print on demand t-shirts, especially, for example, in the US, especially in the US. In the US, it's tough nowadays. It's honestly getting a lot more challenging because so many people have done it. Europe is still some good opportunity, but again, getting tougher there. Profit margins are getting so slim. Here in Brazil, like, you're actually making money on the front end when you're getting CPAs that are $5 and under, $4 and under, sometimes, as you heard him say, all the way down to like $1. So, when you're looking at these kinds of numbers, like the amazing thing about this is you are actually profitable right away from the front end on selling designs in Brazil when you get a good design that starts making sales.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said, we've been up and running for about a year now, and, already people are kind of on track to hit those numbers already. These are just some screenshots, and apologies, they're in Brazilian Portuguese, but, these numbers here, you just divide by 4 to get to US dollar amounts, but you can see people are making, some guys have sold over 15,000 shirts already, right, in less than a year. And I think to date, we paid out just over $1 million in terms of payouts to sellers. That's the bottom red there, as you can kind of see it. But we've got a bunch of sellers, from all over the world, from Asia, from the US, from Europe, who are all selling into Brazil and making, hefty amounts of money. So the opportunity is there, and it's pretty much proven. So if you go to the next slide. This is just one example of a guy that really kind of blew me away recently. Danielle, he's from Italy, and he made 13,000 euros with one design in less than 10 days. And that's pure profit, huh? Like after ad spend and everything. So he sold, it was related to Father's Day, I believe. But, he doesn't speak, he's from Italy, doesn't speak Portuguese. He's never been to Brazil. So, if he can do this, anyone can do this, right? And we've got a link there to the full interview. I think we'll probably post that later on, Nick. I'll share that with you. But, this, again, just proves that it's possible to do this. So,
yeah, I love that. And you guys will see in the post, there's going to be several links that we reference in here from like this interview to some stuff later that like getting started guides. And I'm going to make sure to include that in the post. So if you're watching this and like you didn't read through the whole post yet, just look at the actual copy in the post, the text in there, and you'll be able to find these links.
Cool. So we offer a whole range of products. The best way to figure this out is to just go to Marcazo, create an account. We'll put a link somewhere as well for you guys to find. But once you go on there, just upload a design, and you'll see on the tabs on the top there, you've got apparel and mugs. We do have some more products coming soon, but we've got the basics. 90% of sales in Brazil are, things like T-shirts and things like that. It's a warm country. The seasons are opposite, right? So as we're going into winter in the Northern Hemisphere, Brazil's going into its summer now. So just kind of keep that in mind. But, products like these are your kind of bread and butter, right? Your unisex shirts, your female shirts. We've got premium ones that are slightly better quality, slightly more expensive. Long sleeve products, mugs, things like that. But we're, quickly expanding the product range. But this is enough to get you started with in testing. I know some of you guys might be a little bit new to print on demand, so we thought we'd just quickly run over how it works. But step one, you pretty much find an audience, you kind of reverse engineer it. So you go back and look at, okay, what is, go to your, I forget the name of it on Facebook, but your audience insights, is it? Where you can kind of figure out how big a potential audience is. So let's say, for example, you want to target people who like horse riding in Brazil, right? You could go in, figure out what the term for horse riding is in Portuguese, type it in, and do your research on how big your audience is. Particularly, you want to focus on the big cities in Brazil. So, your places like Rio, Sao Paulo, focus on those ones to start off with and see if you've got a big enough audience. Then step two, you need to create some designs, right, that you think will work for these guys. And Nick, again, will go through this in detail, but on a high level, you create some designs. You can, there's plenty of ways to do research and find what might work. Step three, launch them on Marcazo, create your campaigns, your designs, your stores, whatever it is. And then step four is just test, right? So, start off with a small budget, test it out, scale the winners, cut the losers. As it says in step five, step six, withdraw your profits. Step seven, let us do all the boring stuff, the fulfillment, the printing, the customer service, all of that stuff. So you literally just focus on finding those winning designs and selling them, right? And then you just repeat the process, and it's purely that simple. So if we go to the next slide. So Nick, I'll let you kind of talk more to this, right? I think this is more your domain, but
yeah, I'll jump in here. So one of the things that I love so much about this, and this is why I am passionate about sharing this with everybody, is because this is kind of like Craig mentioned it earlier. This is like print on demand was for Facebook back 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when it was just becoming a thing. People were putting designs on Facebook and making crazy money. It's actually that original print on demand craze is what got me interested in e-commerce with Facebook ads, because I was doing something completely different at the time with a different type of business. And I saw people posting these results online about making crazy money selling these just shirts that I was like, wow, these designs are so simple. And, and they were making crazy money selling these shirts with Teespring and then eventually Shopify. So how that is relevant here is because this, again, is a brand new market, right? As you heard Craig say, Marcazo is only like a year old, okay? So there are so many niches and designs that haven't been sold yet into all these things that have already worked in the past, right? The niches, the language might be different, right? And we're going to talk about that. The language in Brazil is different, but the basic fundamentals of people are not different, right? You still have these big niches that are popular in the US just like they are in Brazil, that are popular in Europe just like they are in Brazil. So you're able to look at all these major things, right? I'm not going to break this down into like super granular details, because to me this is the simple part. Honestly, it's just going to take some time and research on your part. These are all the sources you can go to, because all you're trying to do is find proven winners. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. You're not trying to find new ideas that nobody's ever done before, which is what's typically so difficult with print on demand for new people going into saturated markets like the US or the UK or something. What you're doing is you're just going back and saying, let me look at the data and see which designs have sold really well that I know the niche also applies to Brazil, right? So like, for example, obviously a huge niche for print on demand program in the U.S. is veterans or the Second Amendment, or, obviously that's not going to apply to Brazil, right? So, excluding some of those ones that are super specific to just say the U.S. or whatever country they're in, it's stuff like pets or family or jobs and hobbies. And like, you'll see some examples here in a minute. You already saw the one before that was, you might have been able to make out the design where it was the Brazil/Italy tree roots, right? That's a design that already sold very well for multiple types of countries in the US and in Europe. So that's what you're doing here, right? You can go on teespring.com and you can go look at the designs that are on there and see winning designs from the past. You can look at Etsy and you can see shirts that have sold a lot on Etsy. You can see stores on Etsy that have sold a lot of different shirts and start looking through designs. You can go on Pinterest and you can look at the ads on Pinterest, right? People run t-shirt ads on Pinterest. There are pages that save t-shirts, and you'll be able to go back and look at the ones that had the most engagement, the most interaction. On Google, you can just start typing in on Google winning t-shirt designs for certain niches, right? Like cat t-shirts maybe, or going in and typing in like soccer t-shirts, and just look at stuff that this is a research process, so you got to get into it. On Facebook, you can use the graph search on Facebook, and you can type in for those of you that know how to use the graph search, right, you're typing in keywords. So you could type in teespring.com and then space and then say something like football, for example, right? And Facebook is going to bring up posts from, however far back you set it to, and you can look at the ones that have thousands of likes on them and thousands of shares and comments, right? So you can get into all these places, right, and start looking at the stuff that performed well. That's all you're looking for. You're just using these major sources and looking at what has performed well in the past, and you're just searching through it. And then finally, I'll mention really quickly T-Spy. For anybody that wants to take away, say, some of the manual research process, I'm not giving you an affiliate link here or anything. T-Spy is a paid software that basically links in to Teespring and other sites, and it categorizes best-selling data, right? So like here, it shows you one of the best-selling t-shirts of all time. Now, I believe somebody's already done this in Brazil, so I'm not sure that it would work for you, but one of the best-selling shirts of all time was the Papa, the Man, the Myth, the Legend, right? I can see on T-Spy that this shirt has sold over 62,000 copies. So T-Spy is a way that you can pay for software if you want to take some of the manual research process out of this. I think it's like $20 a month, and you can actually go in there and search by niche, search by winning designs, search by how many sales, how many social counts and reactions and things. So but basically, at the end of the day, all you're looking for is proven stuff, right? So looking at this example, this is the one that I first posted about in the group, and I recorded a video just showing you guys some basic stuff. Now, I made some mistakes with this, right? And since I got this, and this was just like a very quick test. This literally took me 5 minutes. This design is so brain dead simple. I just sent it over to my designer. It cost me, I think, $5 to get done, maybe $8, something like that, to get done. I threw it on a t-shirt. I threw up an ad targeted for soccer. No, actually, I believe what I targeted was I split the gender between men and women, because I have a male and a female shirt and I have a male and a female mock-up, right? So I split the genders. I used the same interest. I think it was Brazil national football team, right? And I set $5 a day. The female one did good. The male one didn't really respond, but I started to sell right away with the female one. And it literally took me only a few minutes, because I knew that this was a design that had done well in the past, right? And there's so many of these heartbeat designs. Yeah, I'm in the process of testing a few others now. I just got some more designs made. I've realized since seeing this presentation with Craig that I'm selling this shirt for cheaper than I could be selling it for, right? So I probably could have made some more money by adjusting the prices, but that's the idea here, is that I didn't even, I do use T-Spy, right? After I saw after I saw how easy this was, I went on the T-Spy and I started looking up like all kinds of top sellers in the past to start getting more designs made. But this was just on Teespring, right? This is simple. Anybody can do this, because all you have to know is that this is a shirt that did well selling to other people in major countries like the US. It hasn't been sold in Brazil yet. And so people in Brazil, of course, love football, and you get a design made, and that's it, right? So that's why this is such an amazing opportunity, because it's literally just about looking for proven winning designs, taking them to a designer, which we'll recommend you one in a minute if you don't have one, taking them to a designer, getting them made, and testing them with small budgets on Facebook ads. And if you're doing your research right and you're testing enough designs, chances are, I strongly believe anybody, even if you're brand new to this, can find something that's a winning design and be able to start making some sales. So let's move into how to get started. I'm going to switch it back to where Craig and I are probably going to jump in and out of this next section a little bit together, but I'm going to give it back to him now so we can start talking about how to get started in Brazil, some of those initial steps.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, obviously, first step to do is obviously creating a Marcazo account, right? You can use Nick's link that we got there for you guys. And we've got a get started guide, which is in the bottom left-hand corner. Again, this will all be posted later on. But everything you need to know there everything you need to know is basically in there, right? In terms of, we got some targeting lists for you that we've put out. Where to focus your ads. As I said, don't target the whole of Brazil. It's a huge country. The north of the country is less wealthy, and shipping costs are a lot more. So, we don't really get a lot of orders from the north. And remember, there's the Amazon rainforest, right? You don't want to be selling products to people who live there. Focus on the big cities, but read that get starting guide. Like, literally everything you need to know is in there. And pay particular attention to the link about boletos. So what boletos are is it's a unique payment method in Brazil. It's not cash on delivery, as a lot of people think. It's basically you get a voucher, like a QR code, and you take that code to the shop or wherever, and you pay cash to the person there, and then that sort of gets electronically noted as paid, and then the order gets processed. So it's quite popular in Brazil. I think around 30% of people use it. So just, it does change the way that you measure your ad budgets and things like that. But we've, explained everything there. So do make sure that you have a look at those. But once you get around that, then, you're pretty much good to go. Anything to add, Nick?
No, other than just reinforcing, definitely read this stuff, guys, because it's the getting started guide is really, really thorough in just kind of laying out the steps. But the boletos is important. And like, if you look at here, pending items. So this pending items is what boletos are. All right. Because people purchase with the voucher, but it's not necessarily a 100% conversion rate, because they get the boleto, but then they still have to go actually pay for the voucher at a nearby store. Now, I've actually seen a pretty good conversion rate from what I've been tracking, because you'll see these pending items like adding up, but it won't necessarily count in your overall profit yet because it hasn't been cashed in yet. But then over time, you'll start to see, like, you'll be able to see when this number starts to drop a little and this comes up a little based on those boletos being cashed in. So it does have a decent conversion rate there of people, but it's gonna change a little bit. Like Craig said, you're gonna have to adjust a little bit, but the guide is really good because the guide actually shows you how to set up custom conversion in Facebook. So I know for some people that may be a little technical, but the guide shows you exactly what you need to do, right? So that you can set the custom conversion event up in Facebook to track the boleto sales so that you can monitor both of them. And, in all honesty, a lot of times you might run a campaign that's completely profitable just off the purchases, and the boletos are like extra, right? So it kind of all depends. Like, your cost per purchase inside Facebook could be extremely profitable even without factoring the boletos in, and then the boletos is just like a bonus you're getting. But definitely read that, and it's really well laid out, and you can ask any questions you have, because as you see in step 4 is that you should join the Marcazo Facebook group that Craig has started. And Craig, I know you're always in there and active in there, right?
Yep.
And you got this contest going too, if you want to say a few words about that, since this contest is currently happening right now.
Yeah, definitely. So we launched this contest just as a bit of an extra carrot for people to kind of jump into Brazil, but all the details are there, right? If you sell 500 units, you get an extra $250, and so on and so on. You can see the kind of tiers there, right? And we've already got a few people who've hit, I think, the 3,000 or 4,000 level mark. So yeah, it's an extra carrot, right? An extra reason to jump in.
Nice. Yeah, that is cool that you guys are doing that. I mean, it's just extra money. And so, yeah, make sure you guys can see. All you have to do is search it. Once you're already signed up with Marcazo and everything, just type in Marcazo in your search bar, and you're going to find the group pretty easily. I think it's the only one out there. So you can join that group, and then any specific questions you have about anything, there's also resources and stuff that he shares in the group as well in the files section, as you can see right here. So definitely join there. That way you can get like specific tailored help for any questions you have about Marcazo.
Yeah, so sorry, Nick. We've got a dedicated seller support team as well who work 24/7. So if you do have any questions, I think sometimes it's also best just to drop us an email. And in Marcazo, there's also a chat function in the dashboard. So if you log into your seller dashboard, bottom right-hand corner, you'll see an intercom chat feature. So you can message our team there as well, and they can help you out.
Oh yeah, true, perfect. And they're very responsive. Anytime I've sent a question, it's been very responsive.
That's the same way you get your translations as well, by the way. So just ask them if you want translations. We've got a team of guys in Brazil who are fluent in Brazilian Portuguese and English. So they'll kind of help you out and guide you on exactly what you need, in terms of designs and ad copy and things like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. The ad copy. Well, we'll come back to that in a second. So this is really basic. I kind of just covered some of this. I just want to mention it because it is in the steps to getting started, right? So after you create your Marcazo account, obviously you're going to have to set up a dedicated Facebook ad account for it, right? I would definitely set up. I wouldn't use, so this is just my advice to anybody that may be new. I'm sure veterans know this already, but I would set up a brand new ad account for Brazil, because you want your pixel to learn, since you're only going to be targeting Brazil and you're going to be targeting people in a different language, you really want your pixel to learn and build some account history there, because the more that you sell there, then the more you're going to be just, the more your pixel is going to have that data to help bring you results quicker and in your scaling. So set up a Facebook account, an ad account for Marcazo. Right, for me, like I named my ad account Marcazo, so it's very simple. Then you're going to create your custom conversion, which is what we just talked about. There's an entire guide on it, and then make sure you install your Facebook pixel to your Marcazo settings. Right, it'll be in your dashboard settings. You can see I didn't put my Google Analytics in yet. I am going to do that, but I'm not advertising on Google yet, so it's not really necessary. So that's optional, but you can also track on your Google Analytics. So that's all you need to do, right? Because that Facebook pixel will then track every event. All right, so it's just like using a store. It'll track your view content, it'll track the add to cart, it'll track the initiate checkout, and it'll track the purchase. Okay, so you'll be able to still track all of those events. You'll be able to still set up custom audiences for all of those events. And you will also still be able to create lookalikes off of all of those custom audiences. So you don't lose any functionality or anything like that. It's the same as running your own store. It's just Marcazo is hosting it for you, which is actually a good thing, because Marcazo's already built a lot of trust in the selling there, right? So and as you'll see later, you can actually set up your own store on Marcazo, but that's basically all you need to know for the Facebook section. It's just about installing your pixel and creating that custom conversion, and then everything else is just the same as running an ad account for a store for any type of drop shipping or print on demand business. So once you have that set up, right now it goes into the designs, right? Like once you're set up, it's simple. One of the things I love about Marcazo is there was no need to actually set up a brand new store. To me, that's a massive advantage, right? It's just such a time saver. There's no need for me to set up a new store in Brazil. There's no need for me to worry about like creating an entire product page every time I need to do something. All I'm doing is looking for winning designs, sending them to my designer to get them made, and then uploading the design to Marcazo, and they already have pre-written ad copy and campaign description copy in Brazilian Portuguese, right? Which is the language there. So that's all you need to do is basically copy and paste. Now I've shared that already in the group files in Ecom Empires. It's also in Marcazo. But if you ever have any specific questions, as Craig already mentioned, this is the email address right here. You can send them any translation, right? And I'm saying this from my experience, so you guys know, like it's not just like them saying, oh yeah, we'll get back to you. They really do get back to you in like 24 hours on business days, based on their time zone. Remember, right? They're EST, so they're going to get back to you quickly. It doesn't matter how many. I just yesterday, actually, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, I sent them. There was 7 different things I needed translated. Some of them were like product titles. Some of them were like designs that I wanted to get reworded into Brazilian Portuguese. So it doesn't matter if you send them a bunch, only 1, 7. If you need ad copy translated, a product title translated, they are quick and they will get it all done. And so it's very, like, I know that's probably the #1 hang up that most people think is, how do you sell in a different language, right? But they're handling all of that for you. So it's nothing you even have to worry about. And now for a designer, look, you guys can use whatever designer you want to. I'm just giving you this recommendation if you don't already have a t-shirt designer. T-Shirt Fella is a company in the Philippines. I'm friends with the owner. His name is Adam. They're really good. I've been using them for almost 2 years now. They have really competitive prices that I don't think there's not too many that I know of anywhere else that you're going to find the type of quality you're getting from these guys for the price they're giving it to you. They're doing really good designs. You can visit their Facebook page. They're always uploading some of their samples and things they've done. As you can see, they've got 5 out of 5 stars on their reviews. So I always recommend them, and everybody I've recommended them to has been happy with them. So if you don't have a designer, this is it, right? Here's the process, okay? I will find a design on, so like say for example this, right? I'll find that design on Teespring and I will download the picture, okay? And then I will send it to them and say, hey guys, can you redo this one for me and send it back, right? And they send, yeah, it's going to be, this amount, and then I pay them on PayPal and they send it back to me. It's that simple. If you need a translation, then the first step would be to say, like, say this were the example, right? This is my human costume and you were going to get that translated. The first thing I would do is I would take the "this is my human costume" text. I would send it to seller support at Marcazo and say, I need this translated, please. They would translate it and send it back to me. And then I would send my requirements to T-Shirt Fella, and I would say, here's the design. I want it to look like this, but I need the text to read this instead, right? And I would give them the translation, and then they just substitute the translated words in for the English words. So you get the same design, but you get it translated, right? So it's a pretty simple process because everything is basically done for you. You're just guiding guiding what you want done with the design that you have. Anything that you want to add to that, Craig, or did I pretty much cover it all there?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Okay, cool. So moving on then, we're going to talk briefly about Facebook ads. I'm just going to kind of give you guys the playbook because this is not like Facebook ads for the US, right? Right now in 2019, everybody knows that Facebook ads in the US and in most of the top tier countries is getting more difficult. Costs are rising, and it's a whole different ballgame, right? But testing with Facebook ads in Brazil is like when I launched Ecom Empires at the beginning of 2016, right? Like the numbers are just so, the costs, I should say, are so much cheaper, okay? And again, it's one of the things that makes this so friendly to anybody, whether you're brand new or you're a veteran that's already been selling designs and you want to move them into Brazil. All right, so what I'm setting them up as, 7-day click, 1-day view, conversions automatically optimized for purchase right from the get-go. And I'm only doing Facebook feed placement, right? Because for the most part, you can test the other placements if you want to. I don't really know how they work in Brazil, but I know people use Facebook news feed, like mobile and desktop, right? So I'm only testing Facebook feed placement because I think that's where most of the conversions are going to come from, and maybe Instagram too, right? But I'm going to test Instagram separately, just because that's just how I'm doing it. All right. Looking at your budget, $5 a day per ad set, right? You can test more if you want to, but there's no real reason to unless you're just trying to be super aggressive, because you're going to get results with $5 a day because your engagement cost is so low, your CPM is so low. As you can see here, your CPM should be under $3. That's your cost per 1,000 impressions. So if you are seeing a CPM above $3, it means something is wrong. Probably it means your design sucks, honestly. In print on demand, really, there's the only reason that you would have bad numbers in your ad is if people don't like the design, right? And that's just being real with you. So you know that if your numbers are off, like your CPM is $10, then it just means your design is not good and people are not interested in it. So Facebook is ranking your ad really low quality, and the cost is going up because it doesn't want to show it to people. So the good part about that is because your CPM is so cheap, that means for $3, you're already getting it out to 1,000 people, right? So that lets you know that you're going to be getting results very quickly, because if 1,000 people are seeing your design, you're already going to be getting clicks. You could be getting sales within the first $3 if it's a good design for the right audience. So you're not spending a lot to test because you're getting results quickly because everything's so cheap there right now because most people aren't advertising there. So looking at your cost per click should be under 30 cents. Right now, some of this I'm taking from my own experience, and some of this I'm taking with some other sellers that I kind of did some research and kind of talked around a little bit once I found out about Marcazo and found out, some other people that were selling there, mostly some Vietnamese people. I know a couple that are doing well there. So CPC under 30 cents, right? What does that mean? That means that the lower it is, obviously, the better. But if it's over 30 cents, then again, same thing. It means people are not interested in your design. It's just kind of a metric for you to understand that, like, if you've spent $5 testing an ad set for a design and you're getting a cost per click of $1, it's way too high. It just means that people are not interested, because on a winning design, your CPC is going to be like 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, right? It's going to be in that range. And that's how you know that people are actually really interested in the design that you are presenting them. And then finally, some like stop loss things for you, right? Because obviously when you're testing new designs, you want to not waste money, right? So basically what I just told you is within the first $5 on an ad set, okay, on that particular ad set, within the first $5, if you're not getting CPC under 30 cents, turn that ad set off. It's not working. If by the time you're getting to 10, I would say honestly, even by the time you're getting the $5 or $6, if you're not getting any add to carts, then you should probably turn it off. But just to be conservative, like if you're getting the $10 for sure and people aren't adding to cart, then turn it off, right? And then finally, if you've spent $10 to $15 on an ad set, and even if you are getting clicks and you're getting add to carts, if you're not getting sales, then turn it off, right? I know that can be kind of a confusing thing sometimes, like why are people clicking, or and they're not buying, but just move on, because honestly it's one of those things that winners are winners, and when you have a winning design, you're going to see people purchasing before $15, right? So don't waste your money. You can test multiple ad sets, right? Usually I'll test a few ad sets, like 3 ad sets. And if I test 3 ad sets and none of them are getting sales by the time I've spent like $10 to $15 on each ad set, then I'm turning that design off. Maybe somebody already sold it. Maybe it's just not a good design, and I'm moving on to something else, okay? So you guys can ask me any follow-up questions in the comments if you have any about any of this stuff with the Facebook ads, but this should give you a really good guideline for getting started in Brazil and understanding your numbers when you're starting to test some stuff.
The one thing I would just add there, Nick, is just I have seen a few people sort of spending $10, $15, not getting any sales, getting lots of clicks, and asking why. Just make sure that you've targeted the big cities again, right? If you're targeting the Amazon rainforest or up north where the shipping costs are so high, that's kind of going to be inevitable. So just make sure you focus on the big cities.
Yes, thank you. Fantastic point. Because I did see some comments about that too, and I think that's probably one of the number one reasons is if you're not targeting in the cities, you're listen. And to add on to that, like you're gonna see uh, likes and comments, right? So I just want to make for anybody that's kind of new. Sometimes when you're advertising, you might start getting really excited because you're going to see a lot of likes and comments, but just in Brazil, it's easy. Likes and you're going to get likes. You could spend $3 and already have hundreds of likes and comments on something because the engagement is so cheap. So you're not basing it off of likes. I mean, sure, that stuff is great, but you're basing it off of the clicks you're getting. You're basing it off the add to carts. And like Craig said, if you're targeting the whole of Brazil, Facebook might start pushing it towards those really cheap areas to get clicks, but those people don't necessarily actually have any intention of purchasing. They're just clicking. So now let's get into some of the types of products. Craig, I'll let you jump in on this one since these are some case studies that Craig has been kind enough to share from their own data within Marcazo.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it always helps. But I think there's three basically golden rules that I kind of have at the bottom. So it has to be a passionate niche, right? People are not going to, necessarily buy something that says "I love Sao Paulo" because they're from there, right? I mean, I live in London. I wouldn't wear a shirt like that. So it has to be something that they're passionate about, right? Like their interests, their heritage, their family, something that people are really, really passionate about. So make sure you find those niches, those passion niches, right? It has to be large and reachable. So, I'll let you decide what you think is large enough, but potentially anything over 1 million or whatever is quite good. But you want a large audience that can buy from you, right? Because not everybody's going to buy, so you want to make sure that the potential people who can buy are big enough. And then of course you want to be able to reach them, right? So through Facebook obviously is great, but also think about your shipping times and costs, right? So that's why I say focus on the big cities. And then I think funny, clever designs that people actually want to wear and buy, right? People, sometimes we're guilty as marketers or designers. We kind of create stuff that we think we like, right? But, at the end of the day, you're building or creating products here that you're trying to sell to other people, right? So you've got to really put yourself in their shoes and think, what would they buy? And often we see these funny, clever ones, people see them, they maybe buy them from a friend or something else. So make sure they're kind of like, when they're scrolling their news feeds, it's something that they stop, they look at, they kind of get some enjoyment out of, and they think, oh, cool, I really love that because I'm passionate about dogs or whatever it is, or it's funny, right? And I'm going to buy this for a friend. So, typically what we've seen working is these heritage shirts. There's a lot of Italians living in Brazil. Likewise, there's a lot of Japanese living in Brazil, and I haven't seen many shirts for Japanese heritage people. So there's a tip for you guys. So yeah, I mean that definitely works. Brazil is very multicultural. It's made up of very different demographics and sort of backgrounds and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity there. The big niches like nurses, for example. People, as Nick said, right? These people, they're human beings. They have nurses, they have doctors, they're policemen, they're whatever, right? Mechanics. All those kind of things that exist in the US and Europe, they exist in Brazil. Photographers. So, again, don't reinvent the wheel, right? Just take what worked in the US and Europe and just adapt it for a new market. It's simple as that.
I love this one. I'm sure that I think even though I don't know Brazilian Portuguese, I'm pretty sure this is the one that says cute enough to stop your heart, smart enough to restart it, or something like that. Some of these you're like, and that's what I love about Brazil. Like I'm looking at this like, man, I wish I would have gotten to it sooner and I could have been the one to do this because like I know nurses is a huge niche, and there's so many shirts that have sold so well for nurses in the past in the U.S. And this was definitely, I'm sure this shirt did really well. This one, I'm a mechanic, caution, something. I don't know what this necessarily says. Something about offensive language, maybe. But yeah, like these are. Right, like this is, and so you're just thinking about the hobbies and the jobs and the things that people are doing and they're passionate about, and this is such a great example of seeing how somebody took a winning design, or multiple, all of these are actually, a winning design from something that did well in English in the US to English speaking markets, and they just had it revamped for Brazil in Brazilian Portuguese, right? And all of these translations, you can bet were done by the seller support team at Marcazo for free.
Yep. And I mean, Nick, you say you kind of maybe not willing to try nurses because maybe someone else has done it, I would say they haven't done all of it, right? You know, this is one design for one niche. I think there's thousands of other designs, right, that haven't been tested out there still. So, you know, don't let that put you off just because you maybe seen it somewhere else. Just maybe you can do it better, right? Likewise, I think there's another thing to add. We've got this custom text feature, which is really, really cool. I think our biggest campaign on Marcazo was using this custom text where it has like a template and people can enter their name or their city or whatever details it is about them, right? And that is really, really interesting. Like people are going crazy for that right now. So I would definitely focus on that.
Yeah, that's cool. We have an example of that towards the end, I think. So all right, cool. Let's jump to the next one then. So this is an example of being able to build a store on Marcazo. So I'll let Craig talk about this one as well.
Sorry, I was on mute. Basically, yeah, I mean, this is what a store can look like on Marcazo. You can see on the top, you've got the Marcazo logo and the buttons and whatnot on the top, but this banner is something that you can create and upload if you want to have like a bunch of different campaigns in one link on a store. And you can see we have products like leggings. This is in beta test. We'll put the link somewhere for you guys, but it's not a product we have available on the front end yet, but you can request access for this. And these are quite a cool product, actually. We're busy testing them at the moment. But yeah, I mean, you can see the store looks pretty nice, pretty, you know, I think it's quite beautiful. But this is specifically for the cat niche, right? And yeah, this guy did quite well.
Yeah, clean and simple store. And again, you know, the same thing, like it's just this whole same thing, right? E-commerce is still so new in Brazil. There's not many people selling there. Marcazo's already built a lot of trust and everything there. So if you have a niche that's doing well, then this is kind of a no-brainer to be able to just branch into a very simple store like this and start uploading multiple designs. That way people can shop around with you and purchase more. So here's the custom text tool that he mentioned, and I put some. So here, this is what it looks like on Marcazo, right? Here's just like a dummy example design, and then you can see you can add custom text fields, and I believe you can add multiple fields, which is cool. So the idea is you get a designer to make a static design, right? So like if we look at this one here, it says Father of Dragons. This is a Game of Thrones design, and then it has 3 dragons, and then the custom text field is the name underneath the dragon, right? So you would add 3 custom text fields, and then you would put them in the design, and then when somebody goes to shop, they type in the name, right? So this one here, same thing. This is all static. Everything above this word Susan, where it says everyone needs that one friend, off to a campfire and get drunk with you. Mine is called Susan, right? So the name is the custom part. So you're getting your designer to make the whole thing and you're uploading it, and then you're creating the custom text field and putting that in there. And this is something, you know, Craig already said that somebody's, you know, people are doing very well using this, and for sure I will, while I have not yet done a design on Marcazo with custom text, what I can tell you 100% is that personalization right now is one of the hottest trends in e-commerce all over the world. So Brazil is going to be no different when you can add that extra element of somebody putting their name or their city or the year they were born or whatever it is that they're adding to the design. That just makes it so much, you know, so much more relatable and personalized to them to be able to help it go viral, bring conversions up for you.
Yep. I mean, our biggest campaigns are customized like this, so I would definitely see if you can do something with that.
Cool. And again, this is right in there, very easy when you're uploading your designs and you choose a certain shirt, like you click edit and then you'll see the custom text field there. So it's very simple. They have multiple fonts that you can use. You can set multiple colors for the different fonts. You can change the size, you know, basic things like whether you want it to be centered or aligned, you know, up or down or different. So it's a really cool feature to be able to use. And again, you can just go to Teespring and you can look at, you know, winning designs like this, right? Like this looks like something that would have came from Teespring. So you can look at for stuff like that and be able to make those sort of designs.
Yep. One thing I would just say on that is just be aware when you do your ads, your ad creatives, be very sort of obvious in calling it out that people can customize them, right, in your ads.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And again, that's something like if you're trying to figure out how to, we can help you with that. Like, and there's examples out there, that you can look for. But then also, if you're trying to figure out like how can I write something that kind of helps it make sense, then the seller support team can help you translate something in English to fit your ad copy.
Yep. We've also got a tutorial on the custom text feature, so we'll put that in the link somewhere.
Oh yeah, true. Good point. We'll include that link. All right, so then moving on, Craig, I'll let you take this one, talking about just kind of a profit breakdown of the numbers of selling shirts.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much what you see here, right? If you price a shirt at 80 reais, which is divided by 4, oh my gosh, my math is terrible, but it's more or less $20, right? That's a little bit on the high end. I have seen people selling it from sort of 85, but I think you're getting a little bit too expensive there for a shirt. So typically, we see people selling between sort of 60 to 85. So somewhere in between there, you've got to kind of find what works for you, right? But if you are selling at 80, you're earning sort of 48 reais, which is about $12 a shirt. Now remember, right, the advertising cost is way lower. So, typically your profit margin is around 32 reais a shirt. Again, divide by 4, you sell 100 shirts, that's what you're going to make, right? So you can kind of reverse engineer or reverse calculate things off that. But yeah, I mean, again, the big bonus here is the cheap ad cost, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the cheap ad cost is what makes this such an awesome opportunity. So guys, I mean, that hopefully was super valuable. I think we gave you like a really good in-depth look at exactly how to find success with Marcazo. And I can't stress enough to, number one, that this is really ideal timing for anybody that's watching this video right now. Q4 is Q4 everywhere, right? So, this is the amazing time to be able to get started and get selling. And again, the fact is that there are so many designs out there. Like Craig said, for sure, just because that you see a winning design that was done in a niche doesn't mean you can't go find another mega winner that's out there based on taking some other sort of design. And another thing that has always worked well in print on demand that definitely applies here as well is being able to take a design that did well in one niche and customize it for another, right? So like you may see something and maybe let me just give you an example. Here was a golden tip that he said, right? Now everybody's probably going to go try and do this after you said this, but like this did well for Brazil and Italy, right? But there's multiple countries that you could test this for, Brazil being the top, obviously, and then, like he said, maybe testing it for Japan, because apparently there's a lot of Japanese people that live in Brazil. So, something like this one here, the one that I did. Like I said, there's so many different types of heartbeat ones that have been done. And this will be a race actually between me and whoever might decide to try it, because I'm about to start testing a few different heartbeat ones as well. Because it's that same concept, right? If there's one design that did well, then there could be multiple other variations of that design for different niches that could do well also, right? So why not go in there and start testing all of them? But in general, we can help you with any questions. I am passionate about helping people succeed and make money, and I think this is a really good opportunity. So I will answer, what I can and help what I can, sharing resources and things with anybody that, just commenting on this post. Obviously, Craig is in the group as well, and he's willing to help and share, as I've already seen he's been doing with some of the comments on some of the other posts as well. So if you guys have any questions or anything, you can just feel free to chime in. Craig, I'll give you like any last thoughts or words that you want to add into this.
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. As I said, right, we've got a 24/7 seller support. So for anything urgent with your campaigns, just ping them. Obviously, Nick and myself are not always online, but Nick, if you post this in the group and you tag me, then I'm happy to answer any questions there as well. But hey, guys, I wish you all the best of luck with this. Like, there sincerely is and genuinely is a big opportunity here. So Not saying it's easy, of course, nothing in life is, but if you keep testing and you're persistent with it, it's inevitable that you'll find those winning campaigns and those winning designs, right, and make some money from it. So, just be sort of methodical about it. Have a list of designs or niches that you want to test, run those tests, scale the winners, cut the losers. It's just, yeah, it's the normal way of doing things, right? But I wish you all the best with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Guys, listen, there's real money to be made here. And Craig, thank you very much for taking your time and sharing. Guys, like he pulled data from past campaigns that have done well on Marcazo. He didn't have to do that, so that's really cool, and definitely appreciate you taking some time here to do this presentation and share with everybody. All right, so that's it, guys. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know. Please take advantage of this opportunity. I know that there's going to be at least one person out there, hopefully multiple people, that runs with this opportunity, and it's like that case study we saw, Danielle, that was doing like 13,000 in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks or something in sales, right? That type of money is possible. It's not necessarily easy, but for the diligent people that are going to do this, it's definitely possible, especially right now in Q4 more than ever. And Marcazo is giving away sweet bonus money to it if you hit certain amounts of units sold. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Craig, thank you again. Guys, go get signed up for Marcazo, and best of luck with everything. Talk to you later.